And yeah, we'll make a start. Oh, and another. Hold on. There. Yay, she made it. Great. Do a little warm up and then we'll get cracking. So get comfortable. Start to focus. Grow lovely and tall. Soften through the knees, open through the chest and shoulders. And we'll start with some walking. So come up onto your tiptoes. I'm joining. Sarah number 3. So from tiptoes here, with the shoulders lovely and open, try and find balance, steadiness, center, and then start lowering one heel at a time. From tiptoes, one heel lowers. The pelvis goes straight up and down, so you're bending at the other hip and knee. Go bring the arms in if you're ready and you want to. Doesn't matter which arm really, but the natural thing is to lift the opposite arm to the knee that's bending. Just make sure it's your form that you're focusing on maintaining more than worrying about which arm is moving. Good, you can speed it up a little bit. Lovely, last couple. And we'll finish on tiptoes. Tiptoe balance and lower. Come out wider for our side plie and stretch. So open the hips, engage the glutes, weight in your heels, little space under the arches of your feet. Come down into that plie squat. Knees stay nice and wide so the hips are open, arms up to shoulder height. Have your breath in with your tailbone tucked, center engaged, then push across. Breath here. Back and up. Good. So you have your pause here with your shoulders settled down and you out breath across into the stretch to breathe in while you're there. Back and up. Let's keep going. Lovely, one more to each side. And back. Good, and we'll stay out wide for our foot series. So let's come up onto tiptoes first. Out here wide, lower down, keep your back upright, so you're just lowering the pelvis, press the heels and come back up. You can lift the arms as well if you want to. Lower, press and come up. Lovely, let's reverse it down into the squat. Keep that bottom low, shoulders down, lift the heels, press up and lower. Good, down, lift, press and lower. Okay, let's come down into the squat and stay there. If you want to, you can put your hands on your hips here. Good, we'll do some heel lifts to one side only. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Good. Alternate them. Good, both at the same time. Keep the bottom low. Last little pulses down. Squeeze those deep little squats. 3, 2, 1, and up. Good. All right. Let's bring it down onto the mat, down onto your backs. Give yourself your head support to have handy, but don't use it yet because we're going to start with our shoulder bridges. All right, so comfortable, neutral spine, feet hip width distance, but closer to your bottom than rest position. Bring them in. See if you can just touch your heels. That's it, arms nice and light beside you. And we'll start with a breath in, feel for the shoulder blades. Add breath, tip back into your low back space and start peeling your way up. Good, so the pelvis is level, glutes engaged, breathe in. Add breath, dip that breastbone. Work your way down through the spine. Okay, and we'll work our way through the levels of these shoulder bridge progressions, which you can take whichever level works for you and stick with it. So peel up. Lift a heel. That might be enough, and you can alternate those or straighten out from the knee. Come back down. Come down between sides or give the other side a go. All right, so if you are staying high with the hips, keeping them level, pressure on the heels, working into the glutes and alternating sides. You're working at level 3. If it still feels too easy, you could hover your arms or cross them across your chest, but just keep them light on the mat if you're using them on the mat. Lovely. Remember to take a break when you need to. Use your spinal movement to come back to the mat. Re-engage those glutes to come back up again. So you can work on another set, or if you want to, take it to the next level. From this being your start position, lift from the hip. Straight leg lifts from the hip, keeping the pelvis level. Down to the level with the other thigh, and then back up. For 4 or 5, reset before you try the other side. Good. So finishing up with whatever you're doing here, using your spine movement to replace. You're back to the mat, back to neutral. Bringing in a head support when you're ready and coming to neutral spine again. Feet comfortable distance from your bottom. We're going to take it to hundreds. So waking up those abdominals with our static abdominal exercise. You can use weights if you want to add them to the hands. And we can bring in, if you want to, the abdo prep as well. So work where's right for you. Let's just out breath the arms up to hover. Start them pulsing from the shoulders, and then you can add in what you want to. 1 leg tabletop. 2 leg tabletop. Make sure you're still in neutral. Good, little pulsing movements. You can turn the palms up. It might be easier if you're holding weights rather than having to grip them. They can just sit in your palms. Or you can keep changing and doing a few with the palms up, a few with the palms down. Don't forget, you've got the option, if you've got space in your hamstrings, to straighten the legs up. If they're tight, they might push your back into the mat, so don't let that happen. Better to work in this 90-90 position. But if you do want to add your head and shoulders to come up off the mat, you're drawing your ribs towards your hips. You're keeping that little space underneath your chin, like you're holding a peach there. Keep pulsing. Good, keep breathing, send that breath into your lower ribs, out into the sides, keeping the low tummy flat, pelvic floor engaged. Last few, I'll count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Legs back down to the mat. Good, all right. Let's take it to double leg stretch. So if you were using the weights in your hands, you can just keep them there for overhead arms. Air breath into your start position. Here, breath in. And slowly with control, air breath from overhead. Think about your ribcage placement. In breath back. If the shoulders are a bit stiff, then just go slowly with it. Because with subsequent repetitions, you might get more movement, but really try and isolate the movement to those shoulders so the ribs don't flare. And when you're ready, you can start adding your heels slide away. Good. Last couple for this set, and then you can choose your level for the second set if you would like to come into tabletop for some. Let the arms rest beside. Float the legs up. Or stick with what you were doing if you prefer. Air breath the arms back to their start position. Have a breath in. And then take them overhead. Just do a couple of reps with the legs static here, while you get used to maintaining neutral spine in your flat low tummy. And then if you want to, you can add the push away. So you can do both arms, one leg, or you can do arm and opposite leg if you prefer. Well then, keep the tummy flat, keep the pelvic floor engaged to draw it back and not let it down. Last couple. And then bring the arms back down to rest. Legs as well to the mat. All right. Let's take it to a nice level 1 exercise. We'll do some hip twists, focusing on our control around the hips and pelvis. So keeping the pelvic bones pointing straight up to the ceiling, arms resting lightly, out breath in the out to the side. In breath back. We're alternating sides, just working at level 1. Just really take it back to basics, focusing on your principles for this exercise. And getting this control right is key before taking it to the progressions. Good. If you want to, bring it up, tabletop to work on level 3, opening one knee out to the side and back in. Okay, the other knee stays continuing to point straight up at the ceiling so it doesn't join for this version. You could balance your glass of wine on that knee. Good, keep working there. If anybody wants to take it to level 4, that is to bring the knees together, the feet and ankles together. The arms come out to the side like we do with level 2, and you can take both legs over. Don't do this if it pulls or strains your back or feels too advanced. Just stick with one of the other versions. Out breath it back. You need to maintain the space behind your low back. So it's not like you're rolling over your low back. That gap is there. You're rolling over the back of the pelvis. And using your center, using that strength to lift the weight of both legs back up again. Out breath over. In breath back. Just going as far as you can control. So you can keep the movements quite small if you need to keep the shoulder blades on the mat. Well done. Last one to each side, whichever version you're doing. And then rest. Okay, arms come back down the side. So our last exercise in tabletop, we're going to do some scissors. So come into tabletop, you know you don't need to, if you've had enough of tabletop, you can work from the floor up, you know, from the mat up, but level 2 if you can. Just engage, make sure you're low and flat. Out breath to touch down, in breath back up. Opening up the front of the hip, touching the toes down, in breath back. Arms stay light, soft through your upper body. And that space behind your low back is really consistent. Don't let it get pulled away from the mat. Good, one more to each side. And then you can bring the knees in and give them a hug. Give your back a big stretch this time. And what we'll do to finish on our backs is our hip twist 2. We've done all the hip twists, but for low back mobility. So when you do bring your legs back to, when you bring your feet back to the mat, just bring them back so they're next to each other, ankles touching, knees touching, neutral spine, and arms out to the sides. Wriggle so you feel those shoulder blades, and then when you're ready, out breath, both legs over to one side. Look towards the opposite side, so you've got the full twist. Breathe in the stretch. One foot hopping on top of the other. So you really get the weight of both legs drawing you across. Good, and finish up there. So that we can come onto our sides. See if you can work at level 3 for clown, so that you're challenging yourself. You can always put your hand down in front if you need to steady yourself and get started. Ooh. Top knee bent, lower leg out straight. And you've got that little cushion in front of you to rest your knee on. Just place that. Make sure the top hip's pointing straight up at the ceiling. You've got long waists, both sides. center engaged. And when you're ready, make a start. Out breath up. In breath back down. So we're opening the hips, squeezing into the back of the hip, into this glute, and then controlling the weight of the leg back down again to its support. Out breath up. Try and keep tension away from your neck and shoulders. Keep the shoulder nice and open. Chin gently tucked. Well done. Keep going for a couple more. And then rest. Both legs out straight. We're going to come into leg lifts. Unless your back doesn't like this, you know you can do lift and lower instead. Lift and lower being just the top leg going up and down within your hip range of movement. Okay, but for leg lifts, we're going to take the top leg just to hip height. Keep both sides of the waist long as you join with the lower leg. Hold them up there, lower both down. So we're out breathing up, in breathing to join. See if you can hold for a breath in and then lower. Sorry, it was a hold for a breath out. What you do, 2 in a row. Out, in, out to hold, in to lower. That's it. Keep going, or lift and lower if you prefer. Last couple. Finishing up. And rest. Okay, you can let those knees bend. We're just going to come up into a propped position for our side bends. So onto your elbow and forearm, or onto your hand if you prefer. Either way, keep the shoulder really drawing away from your ear. Try and keep good alignment from the crown of the head to the tailbone still, so you're not letting your head drop. Keep that top hip nicely forward, so the hips are still stacked. Breath in. Breath out lifts the arm and the pelvis up. And then deepen on your in-breath. Now breath all the way back down. Good. So it's an out breath to here, an in breath to create that curve. All the way back down. And a couple more. Keep that shoulder really strong, drawing away from your ear. Last one. Lovely. Okay, and come up into sitting. You can sit on a block for these if it helps. We'll do some roll-ups. So you don't get my head. That's it. So feet flat, equally sitting through both sitting bones and lovely and upright from that pelvis. Arms out in front of you if you can. Breath in. And breath out to tip back. So you're rolling over the sitting bones and you're tipping back into your low back space. Good, curving off and then come back and up. Keeping the shoulder tops down away from your ears, so you're actively drawing the shoulder blades down your back. Lovely. We can add to it if you want to, we can add the arm lift. So when you're in your fully curved position, you can lift and lower while maintaining that position and then come forward. This is all on the in-breath, so you can out-breath back. And lowest tummy, just continuing to draw back towards your spine, supporting your position and helping you get that curve. Good, let's finish with a few obliques. So if your neck is tired now, you could cross your arms across your chest and add a twist. Or if you're continuing to work with the arms, roll it back and open out. Last one to each side, you're nearly done. And rest. Good, well done. Come down to your other side then for your hips. Keep your cushion so that you've got it for your first set of clam to try and do them at level 3. Straight lower leg, bend that top one, hook it and rest your knee down. When you're in position, when you're ready, you can start. Careful not to roll back and careful not to drop that knee down. Control it all the way back to its support. Last couple. And rest. Legs come back straight. We're going to try and go straight into the next set. So your choice, lift and lower, or stay with me for leg lifts. Up to hip height. Join. Hold and lower. Don't work through any straining in the back of the pelvis or low back. Just change if it's not right. Good, last two. and rest. Lovely. Our last one on our sides. Knees bent. Come up to prop. Strong shoulder, stacked hips. Out breath up. In breath out. Good, 2 more. And then rest. Super. All right, over onto our tummies. Keep your weights if you want to use them for breaststroke. Forehead support. Arms alongside your body. Get that position right. Create the length. Engage your center. Shoulders just drop forward. And out breath, open them up. And hover the arms. Sliding your shoulder blades down your back. Good. Out breath, open. Hover and hold. Breathe in while you hold. Open into the side ribs. Pelvic floors engaged. And lower. Good. If you want to start adding that forehead hover as well, of course you can. Bring it to level 2. Extend your upper back, keep the low back long. Good, last couple. And rest. And bring your arms overhead. So keep your forehead support there. Arms instead reaching forward. Shoulder tops away from your ears. Re-lengthen that low back if you need to. Tuck the tailbone gently. Breath in. Breath out to lift and hover one leg and the opposite arm. In, breath back down. Straight into the other side. Out, breath up. In, breath down. All from the hip. So get that glute working. Try and keep the low back long so you don't lose that position. You're trying to get the thigh to hover without dipping into your low back. You can slow it down if you want to. Hold so that you out breath up. Hold them there while you breathe in. And then lower. For a couple of slower ones to each side. Last one. And then rest. Good. Let's have a push back to stretch. Send your bottom to your heels. We're not done, but we're just going to have a stretch. So what we're going to do next is some push-ups. So you can be having a think about what position you want to do your push-ups in. Box, modified, or try some full ones. You know you could start with the full ones. Work your way back. Try a few of each. Your choice. Try and challenge yourself. Okay, so into your chosen press-up position. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, whichever one you're doing. Lengthen the back of your neck. You're looking down between your hands. Strong low tummy. In breath down, out breath back up. So if you're joining me for a few full push-ups, they don't have to be huge movements. Maintain your form. And when you need to, when you're ready, take it to modified. You can put your knees down, cross your ankles, create that long line from knees to shoulders and keep going. Good. If you want to, you could finish with a couple in box. Try and tuck the elbows in at your sides so they come back towards your thighs. Last couple. And rest. Good, well done. All right, your wrists might have had enough from that. So if they have, just come onto your forearms and you can do some forearm plank. If you want to, though, you could do some some leg pull and prone preps. So quick reminder for those who want to come into a forearm plank, elbows under your shoulders, drawing your shoulders away. Good, tuck your toes under for the full version. Tuck your tailbone under and out breath, your pelvis up to hold. And then lower. All right. But if you want to, last exercise for strength. Hands further forward of the shoulders. Toes tucked under. Out breath up and slide into your plank for a breath in. One more. And rest. Good. Okay, walk it back. We'll have a stretch from here. Just going to pick that up a bit. Okay, so on your knees. Take a step forward with one foot. Lengthen your low back, engage your center and slide into your hip flexor and quad stretch. Lovely. Use that front foot to push you back. Leave it out straight in front of you, just with a soft knee, ankle relaxed, and have a fold forward over it. Get that hamstring. Good, let it bend and push you back again. Okay, so from here, put your hands back down to the mat so that you can bring that same leg that you've just stretched forward, and we'll go for the pigeon stretch. So you've brought the knee forward and the ankle, if your knees are okay with this. If they're not, then you can do an alternative glute stretch. But we're going to slide the back leg away. All okay? That's it. You can stay upright, you can stay propped, stretching the front of the thigh to start with. You'll be stretching the front of this one. But when you're ready, come down to deepen the stretch into the other hip and glute. Rest as deep into it as you want to, as long as you feel you can relax into the stretch. But if that front knee doesn't like it, don't put the twist on it, just leave it bent or come out and do a different glute stretch altogether. Lovely. Prop yourselves back up onto your hands. Tuck the toes under the back foot so that you can lift the knee up, slide what was the front leg back and bring the back leg in for your other hip pigeon pose. All right, you've just swapped legs. Start high, stretch the front of that thigh one more time, and then come down. Good, okay, and push back up so you can come out of that stretch. Back up onto your knees if you can, because we've still got to take this leg forward. That's it, make sure it's the opposite to what you did before. For the hip flexor stretch on the other side, slide into it. Wonderful, push back. Straighten this front leg, soft knee, soft ankle, fold forward. Okay, let it bend so it can push you back. And tuck your toes under to come up off the mat. Nice forward fold. Have a breath or two. And then when you're ready, tuck your tailbone out, breath your way back up. And give your shoulders just a couple of circles back. Make sure you finish lovely and tall.